So carrying on with algebra, we're going to be looking at substitution. Now substitution is really just replacing one object with another object. You can think about this in many different contexts. So on a football pitch, when you make a substitution, you replace one player with another player. We're going to use a similar analogy in this video. When we're using substitution, the rules of order of operations still hold true. So we must follow the order of operations, and you may have heard this been explained to you as BODMAS or BIDMAS. We will talk about the order of operations as we go through. To begin with, let's look at a simple algebraic equation. We have a equals 3b over 2 minus 5. So this says we have the letter a is equal to 3 times b divided by 2 and then subtract 5. So when I say order of operations, I'm talking about the order which I do things to b. So if you look at b there, b is being multiplied by 3, we then divide that by 2, and after that's been done we subtract by 5. Okay? So this is just an algebraic equation, but what if I were to say that b is equal to 12? So what we could do is we could use a substitution. We could replace the letter b by this number 12. Replace one object by another. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to replace that b by the number 12. Okay. Now notice how I've changed 3b to 3 times 12, since 3b means 3 times b, but we're replacing the b by 12. Now all we have to do to find the value of a would be to do the operation. So firstly, the first operation, we've got 3 times 12, so let's do that. 3 times 12 is 36. And then don't change anything else. Just do one operation at a time. And notice how I'm working down the page rather than across the page. All the equal signs stay in line. So now we have 36 divided by 2 minus 5. The next operation would be to divide by 2. So we have a is equal to 18 minus 5, since the half of 36 is 18. Finally do the 18 minus 5 and get an answer of 13. So in this question we have found the value of a by substituting the value of b for 12. We have replaced the value of b by 12. We followed order of operations to find the value of a to be 13. Let's look at a more complicated example now. So let's use this formula. S equals 5t plus a half at squared. In this question I have 3 variables, 3 unknowns, s, t, and a. I'm going to ask you to find the value of s if I give you the values of a and t. I'm going to say a is minus 2 and t is 3. So what we can do is in the equation we can substitute our values of a and t into that equation. Replace the a by minus 2 and replace the t by 3. So I'm not going to do anything in the equation. I'm just going to change the letters for the numbers. So s is equal to, maybe you could pause the video here, try and write the next line yourself and see if you get it right. So since it's 5t, it's 5 times 3, replace the t by 3. The half doesn't change, it's a half times a, and a is minus 2, so it's a half times minus 2. And then it's a times t squared, so it's times 3 squared, just replacing the letters by their numbers. And if you notice, it's just the t that has been squared. Okay, so now we're going to start to work out the value of s by doing the operations in the correct order. If we look at BIDMAS, and we'll get more into BIDMAS in future lessons, but the first thing we need to do in this equation is do the powers, do the indices. So we need to do the 3 squared before we do anything else. So we can write everything the same, except we're just going to change that 3 squared to be 9. So I've underlined that 3 squared since that's the operation I did. The next operation we could do is multiplication. We can do any of the multiplication, but let's just do the minus 2 times the 9. So s equals 5 times 3, don't change that, don't change the half, just change minus 2 times 9. Now what is minus 2 times 9? It's minus 18, so we can replace minus 2 times 9 by minus 18. Okay, now we could do a different multiplication. We could do the half times the minus 18. Half times minus 18. Well, what is a half of minus 18? Because we can replace the word times by the word of. A half of minus 18 is going to be minus 9. So we can replace the half times minus 18 by minus 9. And I kept that plus sign the same there. Okay. Now, BIDMAS says before we do any addition and subtraction, we have to do the multiplication. I've got one multiplication left to do. The 5 times the 3. 5 times 3 is 15. So, we can replace 5 times 3 by 15, rewrite the plus minus 9. And now all we have left to do is the addition. So what is 15 plus minus 9? Okay, so if we think about this, we start at 15 on our number line. And if we add minus 9, do we go up or do we go down? So we're adding minus 9. If you're in my lesson before, it's adding 9 sandbags, which takes us down. So we're going to go down 9. And going down 9 gets us to 6. So 15 plus minus 9 is 6. So S in this case gives us 6. Now that was quite a complicated example, but as long as you're substituting the numbers into the correct place and following order of operations correctly, it shouldn't go too wrong. Okay, we'll do some practice of more of the simpler ones in lessons, and I wanted to show you how complicated this could get. Okay, thank you for watching.